late. Roland and I are happy to take questions here. One thing, just because every once in a while you get great opportunities. Both Flagship and the Mayo have potentially profited greatly from the 126 people who put up the money to start Exact Cost, because we got to leverage $28 million of other people's capital with some of our capital and put the 128 shareholders into a little legal box, which is sort of a nicety of how venture capitalists sometimes treat each other. But it's created an opportunity for an old company to be a new company and to act like a new company. And for us at Flagship, the ability to partner with Mayo on something like Exact Sciences, we will find out in a week or so how good a partnership well, it's been a great partnership. We'll find out how we feel about it. On Medita, where it's still a story in process, maybe on something like Ceres, it's a real privilege to work with folks like you to try to change the world, as Roland said, and again, to make a little bit of money along the way. So thank you. Any questions we can address here, and anyone should feel free to stand up and head out if you want to, and Roland and I can talk informally as well. Yeah.
So you touched on a couple of examples that and I'm inferring, you said that during various stages when someone comes, you describe it doing research, doing primary research, that research has been funded out of their company's funding.
Yes.
Did I understand that correctly?
Yep.
So,
usually translated into the company. So there's always this tricky divide that you all well know between what you do in an academic institution like Mayo and the company itself. Yeah.
And is that, so that's I'm not 100% familiar with that mechanism, so I'm trying to understand whether that's, whether the researchers, is it like you have to buy facilities, buy everything from concrete up in order to do the research that will benefit the company, or are you able to find ways to engage?
Yeah, so it's a great question, and it's tricky, and you've got some very smart people here. Fundamentally, no place like the Mayo wants outside companies, be they big or small, directing the influence, directing the research of its insiders. So there's a real strict prohibition between inability to directly fund stuff, to do stuff that you would expect for appropriate reasons. But there are lots of ways that institutions like the Mayo, institutions like, tricky as Harvard, work, MIT certainly a little bit more liberal, work very productively and collaboratively with small companies. And usually institutions, and for sure Mayo, offers the opportunity for people to wear dual hats. So you can be an advisor to a company on the outside. There's a licensing office that sets up formal relationships to define how value is transferred between the institution and the company. And all that stuff is a centerpiece of entrepreneurial activity being translated from an academic institution. Mayo has good policies, good people in place thinking about that stuff, but you're right, it's tricky and it's not easy. Yeah?
What was your success rate 20 years ago? What's your success rate today? What were the key ahas along the way as far as that
learning curve? So my aha is I'd rather be lucky than smart. that's a pretty discouraging aha, but honestly, that's it. Success rate, we were talking earlier about how you know when something's a company versus a license opportunity, and the analysis is really hard because when you're looking at these early stage things, you're not measuring what is, you're measuring what it could be. So you're trying to do an analysis to predict potential. And potential takes a while to realize. Exact Sciences turned out to be a great investment for us. I'm not going to feel good in the pit of my stomach forever if the clinical trial doesn't work out. Honestly, the money is what it is, but I want to be part of helping transform the branch of healthcare on that. So if Exact trial doesn't succeed, but Exact was a great investment, was that a success or not? I ask you, and it's a little bit of both. In general, we're getting probably decent returns on a third of what we do. We're getting returns on half to 60% of what we do, and we're kind of breaking even or losing money on the rest across a set of ventures. It's harder today than it used to be. The bar is a lot higher. There's a lot more suspicion about investment in the healthcare system than there used to be. Pharma companies have more money in some ways, but are less willing to spend it in other ways. You can't take companies public the way you used to, although we got one public last week, and we have two more that will probably be public in the next month or two. So I'd say the success rate is lower. The bar is higher and it's harder, but the rewards are still there, both in terms of, in fact, the rewards have never been higher about the potential, the tools, and the technology we have today to transform healthcare. It's an exciting time to be alive, but it's tricky, and that's why places like this that bring together people going through similar experiences, starting up companies, all the ups and downs, different fields, you know, the stuff that Roland's talked to you about, it's really important because you got to support each other. And I'm proud that you guys have done this because it makes a difference. Yeah.
Yeah, how many pitches do you actually look at for every company that you support? And are there any that you really kind of regret that you didn't pick up on when they first?
Absolutely. So there's a firm called Bessemer that publishes its list of deals it turned down, which would go, Bessemer Ventures, go look at the list. It's a fun list. They turned down many of the internet successes out there and made a lot of money along the way. It's called their anti-list. And you know, if you wanted an honest answer, Stephen, I would say that so I listen to a lot of pitches. Listening to a pitch that doesn't actually cost that much. I'll listen to most people talk for a little bit, but it's the pitches that are clever enough to get referred into me cleverly that I actually really pay attention to. And then when I listen to a pitch, this is highly personal, I develop one of two attitudes if I don't invest. About 80% of the time I'm absolutely rooting for the person and wishing I might have been able to invest or hoping I was wrong in my decision not to invest. And 20% of the time I think they're jerks and I prefer to see them crash and burn. That's just personal. But there are entrepreneurs that I've turned down that I talk to once every 2 weeks because I'm rooting for them, I believe in them as people, and I want to see them defy the odds. Or maybe they were just a little bit outside the focus of my fund at the point in time. So I feel an obligation to give back to a world and a community that's been really good to me, and it's such a privilege to work with people called entrepreneurs trying to change the world. You couldn't have a better job. You feel I'm rooting for you. I don't know, I turned you down. I've listened to your story a couple times and keep liking it. It's not an easy field, is it? Anyone else? So, yeah, anyone else? So, any of the man, sorry, yeah.
One quick question. You are a small startup with one product, but you have a platform and potentially other products. And it's difficult we've been receiving sort of two types of advice. One is to focus on your one product, go for the small sums to keep you afloat. Or when you decide that you want to present the big vision to continue with the research and how do you balance that?
There's no right answer, and the fact that you receive both polar answers tells you that. Certain people won't fund platforms because they want to fund products. Most times when you say, okay, let me show you my product, the first product, even out of a profound platform, isn't necessarily enough to get funding either. So you kind of hit on either side of the equation. We like platforms. The Cyros thing that I described in transcription is a platform. Agios was a platform. Platforms have the advantage that if you tell the story well, they're evocative and they can get people to, if metabolism, so Agios is one of the other secrets there in metabolism. We cornered 4 out of the 6 people in the world that you'd want to be involved in metabolism if you wanted to do something serious in it. So when all the pharma companies went around and 2 years later said, we got to have a metabolism program, they looked and we had 4 out of the 6 people you wanted. That literally is why we got the deal and we were further ahead. So platforms are powerful, but Agios at the end of the day will succeed or fail. Cyrus will succeed or fail based on whether the products work. And like exact sciences, you'll be reduced at some point in time to opening an envelope and seeing if the thing worked in clinical trials the way you thought you did, unless you get lucky enough to sell it to some big pharma company earlier and just exit and leave it in somebody else's hands. And there's a company in Boston, to your question of success or failure, Circus. It was going to anti-aging approach the ingredient in red wine that people talk about. It was sold for $800 million to GSK. Since it was sold, the research has been invalidated by multiple major institutions. And lo and behold, it got quietly mothballed in GSK. They wrote off the whole $800 million a couple months ago. Was it a success or failure? Geez, I don't know. It was a huge financial success, okay? But it's not kind of, that isn't actually what guys like me want to do. I mean, Harry would be happy if we did it because it makes some money, but he would feel bad, like we would feel bad that you didn't really move the dial. So, I don't know, it's tricky. Any other questions? We're around, if any, I can help any of you on anything here. Again, we owe the Mayo a lot at Flagship. We love working with this place. Again, full candor, it's got its moments where being an outsider is not the same as being an insider. But it's a marvelous thing you all have here. This hopefully can be a useful adjunct to your mission here, and if I can help in any way, let me know. These guys know how to reach me. Thanks so much for being here.
Thank you.